Let's get it.
Why do we want to learn bad words all the time?
It's not that.
Yes,
I
always.
think it's part of that, but it's also everyone wants to teach you the bad words.
Yeah, right?
Because
Yeah.
it's like the easiest ones to get
Probably.
you
Yeah,
to say.
and it's funny.
Maybe if
Yeah, that's why
It's
it
funny.
makes everyone laugh.
Yeah.
Like, hey, say this word.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like they would always show me off like, do this. So say it, say it. And then everyone's like,
He can say like hello, good morning,
yeah,
but he can say this word. You know,
Say
it's like
tabernacle, say tabernacle.
Yeah.
Say it. And then,
also to know what somebody's dissing you, bro.
yeah, for sure. How old were you when you first learned? Oh, is French your first language?
yeah.
Yeah. How old were you when you learned English? Did you go like a school?
At school, but I was not really good because that's it. But by traveling,
Yeah.
on the with people.
Yeah.
And also by watching a movie and stuff in English and subtitle.
Yeah.
French.
Yeah.
Is there a movie that sticks out to you that you learn English that you watch more than others?
No, not a movie, but maybe Friends. You know. The
Oh, yeah, the
series.
show? Yeah, Friends.
the TV. Yeah, show.
So you like the show, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you still watch it sometimes now?
Yeah, but especially in the plane.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
sometimes there is some episodes, so I like to watch. You
There's
know.
so
It's
many.
comforting
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
And did you go to like a school with both? Because I know you're from Canada, but
Yeah, but in Montreal, like I was telling her in the car, like in Montreal, there's like the west side and the east side, and in the west side it's really anglophone,
okay.
and in the east side it's more francophone. And I grew up in the west, so
Okay.
that's why it's easier for me. But for people in the east, you see the
Yeah.
difference. Like it's more of a struggle. But also it's Montreal. I mean, there's so many immigrants coming down
sure.
and Caribbean, like
Yeah,
anglophone.
Caribbean. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So and Haitian. So the Haitian are like in the east, and
Yeah.
then the Caribbean are more in the west.
Okay.
Because it's here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And for you, is your family originally from France, like your parents, or did they migrate there?
Yeah, my mother is originally from France, but his father was an immigrant from Romania,
Okay.
and my father is an immigrant from Tunisia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So your father's side, first generation French,
Yeah,
and then mother's side, second.
yeah.
Oh, okay. And then we kind of talked about it, but
Yeah.
you said Scottish.
Scottish and Irish.
Irish from your
and
grandparents.
Belge at some point,
Yeah.
but me it's third generation.
Third generation Canadian.
I don't know how to.
Yeah, it's
gauge.
if your parents were born there. So
in Quebec, yeah.
in Quebec, that means they're a generation. So if they're grandparents,
Yeah.
are they born in Quebec?
Yeah.
So then that would mean you're third. So their grandparents first.
Yeah.
Right, wherever you're born, if you're the first one, you're
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first.
Yeah,
So
okay,
grandparents first, parents second, you would be third.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for me on my mom's side, I'm second generation, and on my dad's side, first generation. 'Cause
Okay.
my father was born in Costa Rica, and then my mom born here. So like I'm really Latino. Like some people are like, if you're just you're Mexicano. If you're
Yeah.
just Costa Rican, you're
yeah,
Costa Rican. You know,
Okay.
Latino is like when you're that
Mixed.
mixed when you identify as that.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So. Latino, Central American, and Mexican. But it's funny because here in Los Angeles, a lot of, whether you're from Central America or different parts of Latin America, they would come, especially the men, and identify as Chicano.
Oh,
So
yeah?
a lot of times here, people just think they're Mexican because people also relate Chicano with Mexicans.
Yeah.
But there's Chicanos who are from El Salvador, from Costa Rica,
Okay.
and that's how it was with my dad. Like everyone thought my dad was Mexican, but my dad's Costa Rican.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's funny because for my mom and dad, they grew up very traditional in the sense. So for us, and this happens a lot to people here now, and I'm curious if this is like this for you guys. English is so important to learn that they didn't allow us to speak Spanish. It would be like we didn't come to the country like practice English with
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
okay.
Yeah.
So like on my dad didn't like speaking Spanish at all, and as he got older, he kind of lost the accent and only spoke English and sometimes embarrassed to speak Spanish. And he's born in another country, and my mom very fluent in Spanish but born here. But it was like every time we were with the family and stuff like that, it would be like English, you know.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
as we got older, you start getting, I think, more more sense of pride of your ethnicity, then you want to, speak more and know more and identify as it more. But it's very hard because we're so close to the country. Yeah, so it's like when you speak Spanish, it's like, oh, right away they'll call you out and be like, oh, you're a white boy. You're a white boy. You're like, now you're just embarrassed to speak it because the accent, you know. How is that for, let's say, for yourself, like?
Yeah, so my father is speaking Tunisian. He's fluent, his mother tongue. But he couldn't teach us this language because my mom couldn't speak Tunisian, you know. So at home we only speak French because it was the common language.
Yeah. That everyone could know. Yeah.
Can know and understand and yeah. And that's it. Huh? And we often go to Tunisia for the big holidays, you know, in summer. And even there, our family speak to us in French because they were more fluent in French because they learned at school, and also because Tunisia was colonized by France. So it was kind of the second language, you know. So in Tunisia, everyone can speak in French. So yeah, so they adapt. They were adaptable for us.
Yes. Do you know? Can you speak? What is it? How Tunisian? What's the language?
Like Arabic Tunisia.
Okay. Can you
yes,
speak?
A little bit.
Yeah. Do you try? Do you still have your father? Is he
yeah. I still have my father, and also my husband is Tunisian.
Okay.
So I try to speak with him in Tunisian.
Oh, that's awesome.
Too. Yeah, but it's difficult. And yes, I feel what you say when you said, oh, it's embarrassing, kind of, because I want to speak this language, but I'm so shy. I'm so embarrassed. You know, I feel I'm not a part of these people, but I am. You know, because we don't speak this language, but culturally we are really more close to the Tunisian culture than the French culture. Yeah. But of course, we are born in French, so we are French. You know, but we have some values that owns to Tunisia.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, and I like talking about that because that is what being a Chicano is. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about what Chicano means.
Yeah.
It's that you feel that you're neither or because you're somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, because you're born here, you're not born from there, but your values and roots are from there, but you're raised and you have traditions that are different here, but because I'm not white enough for the Americans, I'm not that, and because I'm not, brown enough for the Mexicans in the sense, to put it like simply, I'm not that, and that's where the Chicano movement really was born in that essence of like, what am I? Like, I can't speak Spanish because I'm in America. I'm in a country where I could get beat up, killed, arrested because I'm different, and then when I'm here, they could hear my accent. They could hear, the difference.
You're different.
Exactly, like me. I'm more light complected, and
so even like when they see you walk outside, they know.
And that's what's funny is that, like, especially let's say during COVID, and then when the BLM movement started, and really those topics became very relevant again in pop culture, because it's always relevant in these types of communities. Those conversations never stop, right? It just became something that everyone was speaking about. It's like, trust me, when I go to rich neighborhoods, they know I'm not from there.
Yeah, of course.
No matter how light complected I am. Yes, there is certain differences on a larger scale, but there isn't. When I go to Beverly Hills, trust me, that millionaire is not looking at me like, oh, I wonder if he's European, or he's like, that's from the first word, from how I'm dressing and my demeanor. They already know.
All those details are like softer culture, things, that are part of different group of people, and we can recognize each other by those different
100%.
things.
It's like
of course.
A smell, a look, you can just see it all.
And how you walk, how you can talk, also the word you use, everything means something.
And
even when you go to Mexico?
And then when I'm in Mexico,
they know.
They know that I'm not from there. Right away. Hey, gringo, or like pocho, like, but in Latin culture, we're very playful. very playful, and some people from the outside listening or looking would think it's hurtful. Like we have me and Afro, we talk about this, or we tell dancers about this, but in our culture, your biggest insecurity is gonna be your nickname.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
yeah.
Your biggest insecurity is gonna be what your family calls you. You know, like that's just how it
Your
is.
family calls
Oh
you?
my God,
Okay.
yes. If you're short, they're gonna call you a word for short, chaparro. You know,
Okay.
if you're chubby or
Okay.
fat, they're gonna call you
Okay.
gordo. You
Okay.
know, if you're ugly, they're gonna call you feo. Like, and it's just and it's not like, and it's funny because American culture teaches you to resent your family for that. Right. In our culture, you don't grow up resenting your family. And that's back to the values and all that. Like it's very, I can speak for American culture. Like that is very American to be offended. You know, very American to take offense for someone that loves you, that calls you something out of, we call it cariño. Like they're saying it with love. It's a culture thing, but that's the irony.
Tough
So
love.
it's the tough love. So like in Mexico, you could be buying tacos, a stranger. Like I could go to the stranger, but dame dos tacos de asada. Give me 2 beef tacos, and they'll be like, one more, white boy.
Okay,
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I thought my Spanish was getting better, maybe, but instantly. So for yourself, it's a little more. It's a little different because you're in a part. You live in a part of a country that the majority speaks English, but you live in that part of the country where the majority speaks French.
So
Right, Quebec.
Quebec is it's
French first.
mostly. Like I think because the province of Quebec is huge, and then Montreal is like this
The little
tiny peanut.
The little city, yeah.
And like so, it's when you just go outside of Montreal, it's totally different, and the slang, like the French, sounds different. When you're in Montreal, it's just this mix of culture, and also like I was telling Sonia, is like a mix of French, English, and Creole. Because a lot of Haitians are in Montreal, and so the young people, they talk like go from French to English, then use Creole. Like it's the popular language
way of speaking now.
Yeah, exactly. So even like for Joe, there's titles of activities that it's actually in Creole. Because also Munster is
Haitian.
Haitian, so we titled it in Creole. So it's just represents Montreal and the culture in Montreal that is like many faces, But outside of Montreal, like it's you know.
Oh yeah, definitely,
And
definitely.
so it could be very quick and very like they shorten the words of French and they kind of distort the sound of it as well. So it's kind of.
But for you grew up English first in the home or French first?
French.
Okay.
Yeah, so my 2 parents are Quebecers and
Quebecois.
Québécois or Quebecers.
Quebecois.
But Québécois, you said it well. And so it was mainly French, but my parents wanted me to learn English really quickly when I was young. So they put us in a school where they knew there were a lot of Anglophones. And so we could like get mixed with them and like have friends that are more Anglophone, so we could have this fluent.
Because I know that's a controversial topic in Quebec, the Anglophone speaking Quebecois versus people who wanted to be just French, right?
Yeah, there's English schools that people go to, and there's French. But obviously, La Loi 101, that we call it, is like trying to protect French because it's the only province in Canada that has this language. They have this fear, obviously, and I understand. I understand that they don't want to lose that because language is part of culture too. So, so they're trying to have like all the businesses change their title to more like a French stuff like that, or if it's called like untitled. Well, it has to be, okay, no, that's a bad example. If it's like a culture, but it has to be la culture. As you have to put
That's interesting,
the how do you call that?
Le déterminant?
Non,
je sais pas. Je sais plus ton mec.
Anyways, you have to put it in front.
Yeah.
You know.
The way it would properly be said if it was in French, you have to have that represented in the title, whether
Exactly.
it's going to be
Ouais, pronom personnel,
English.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you don't have to change the full word, but you have to put something in front that makes it that it's French. You know. I don't know if it's like if it passed or not. I don't know if it's obligated for everyone now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So and also for like the festival, our program outside it has to be in French, or if they hear the host talk too much in English, they're gonna tell us.
Wow.
It has to be bilingual. It has to.
Yeah.
We have to hear the French more. So, yeah.
Yeah. See, and that's, yeah, and this is why I like talking about that, because obviously I know where I'm from that it's like that, and it's just crazy how similar it is everywhere. You know, especially countries like Canada, France, you know, U.S. Because even here, we joke around and we tell people all the time that when they come to Pacoima, that it's Little Mexico, you know, and I don't think most people don't really understand how I genuinely mean that. Like, this place businesses used to be in Spanish, and everything had to be in Spanish because the majority of the population was Spanish speaking first. And then I don't know if it was a law, but something passed where they started forcing businesses to change it to English, and it started making us lose the language. When you go into deeper, we know more now. I think a lot more people are educated on maybe why that's happening or why that happens. But like, even for myself, the first language I learned was Spanish, even in school. Like in I was born in 1990, and when I was in elementary, we had no choice but to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of elementary, which is like 4th, 5th grade, something changed where they didn't make it mandatory no more.
Okay.
Right? And trip out on how crazy it is, right? Over in U.S., especially Los Angeles, the majority of the population is Mexican or Latino. And it's a Latino population, majority is Mexican.
Yeah.
In school, in high school, which is before university, right? I know you guys call it different.
Yeah.
Like, so high school is like 14 years old to 18,
Yeah.
19 years old.
Yeah.
They give you choice of French or Spanish.
Okay.
Why would we, in a place formerly known as
Take
Mexico,
Spanish.
have to choose between French
Yeah.
or Spanish?
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, like that's something that, like, when you get old, you kind of think like, why not, Italian?
Yeah.
Then why not, Italian, French, Spanish? Or
Yeah.
why not? You started going deeper, like, why, like, who picked
Yeah.
French? Who, and why is it an option?
Why not the native tongue?
Why not the native tongue? You
Yeah.
know, and that's what happens with a lot of Chicanos is, it becomes a sensitive topic or insecurity, or it was meant to do that to us, but we found pride, and then we started creating a movement, and Chicano movement is very tied into popping culture, very tied into it, So and that's where people like me and Kid Boogie are so passionate about it, because for many years that part of popping culture, whether you call it funk culture, popping, boogaloo, I know the titles and names and information is being provided that changes what we call things or how we're looking at it, but that part of it is not talked about enough, because if anything was happening in California and any time, Latinos have had to participate and had to have some piece in it, because this is where the country, our people are from. They just moved the border and pushed us further south,
Okay.
So I love learning that about dancers and learning that about anyone I interact from a different country, because I think it's a huge part of the community, because what you're saying, there's other dancers of your ethnicity, race, and different mixes who also experience that in their own way, who participate in the dance. And like the Montreal scene, this what we're talking about, that's at the core. In essence, when you go to Montreal, you feel that. You feel that melting pot. Like, I tell people all the time, like, Montreal's responsible for how I grew as a human being, because I was so defensive growing up in a place like LA. Montreal taught me how to open my heart. you know, and that's within the community because of how many different ethnicities. It's a melting pot, right? And I know from France, it's a very similar country with so many people from so many different parts of the world, you know, and I think that's important for our younger generations to hear that this type of dialogue and conversation, because what we do is a culture, and it's a lot deeper than techniques.
Yes,
you
of
know?
course, yeah.
And for both of you, you guys can answer. You could go first. Is when and where did you find the dance? Right, like you know, your parents didn't do it, right?
No, my parents are not like professional dancer or are not
Or artists?
They are not artists or not coming from like a dance community. But actually, I have a lot of memories of them dancing. You know, because culturally, especially on my dad's side, but also my mom was really like really enjoy to dance, having fun. You know. So yeah, I always sing them dancing, like for anniversary or wedding or stuff like this. And me, I also, maybe because I watch them, but I really enjoy express myself with my body, not with my voice or anything, you know, but with my body I was like, oh yeah, I want to dance, you know. I was dancing like a kid, you know. And my dad say, oh, stop dancing, but just for fun, not too serious, you know. But and when I start to listen the radio.
No, you said it perfect.
Radio, yes. I started listening to hip hop music, R&B and stuff, and I just enjoy in my room, you know. I was like, instantly, yeah. I was making clip, you know. Really music clip. I really enjoy it, you know. And also, I have a big memories at school. It was before high school, so I don't remember, but during the pause between lunch and go back to school the afternoon of the day, we have like a practice something, I don't activity. And it was like dance, and I joined friends of mine, and it was on Destiny Child. Say my name. Doesn't matter, but just we walk, and there is like a little stairs, you know, and I just go down. I felt something really huge, you know, like a star, you know. I was like, oh wow, I feel something now, you know, and yeah, I think I really enjoy dance since the beginning, even if I didn't know which specialties I want to do, or even know, oh, there is popping style, breaking style. You know, I didn't know anything about this. Just want to dance. And after we have like mini channel TV. We have MTV and stuff. And I spend a lot of time watching video clip and stuff. And yeah, I think it talks to me a lot.
Yeah, and that seeing your parents, you know, partake in just dancing without it being this specific, like a profession, or just seeing the enjoyment, it carried over and it played something in your life and in your body that you're comfortable to do it, you know, because I think, let's say for me as a man, it's almost, and that's why being after we're talking about this is being sometimes lucky with the type of parents you have, you know, because in my culture, like men dance in a certain way, but not the dance we do.
Of
you
course,
know, like it's like, oh, what the hell are you doing? Like, hey, like go work. Like, what are you doing? You know, like that. And I got very fortunate that yes, my dad did the dance, my uncles did the dance, my mom, you know, was a part of the culture. So, you know, they always pushed it, you know. But you know, that's interesting that even though your parents didn't do that specific dance that you do, you've seen that played an impact in your life and made you comfortable enough to look deeper, you know?
Yeah, because I saw them just enjoy the moment, you know, just having fun and sharing something different that the routine of the day can be, you know. It was something special. So, because maybe it's different when your parents are like professional dancer, because you can saw them like struggling for for many stuff, you know, like because it's work.
You see the business side.
It's a job. Yeah, you see the business side. So it's different.
Yeah.
There is no this kind of thing, so it was
You didn't
just,
relate it to stress. You
yeah,
like just
yeah,
happiness.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And for yourself?
My family didn't dance at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
No, like they like music and they like playing
Yeah.
music. Like my mom would play the guitar and my dad would
Musicians.
actually. Yeah, well, musician, but like just by
No,
interest,
but
not professional.
musician. But see, that's
Okay.
that's important. Look, that's important because a lot of people, when you say
Yeah.
dance and a dancer like us
Yeah.
ask,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, "Oh, I don't dance." Like, no, you dance.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
dance
yeah,
Like
already.
you don't
Yeah.
don't think that it being a profession is what makes you that, right? Like
Exactly.
So
you're right.
musician, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So my mom would play guitar and my dad would actually like produce house music.
Really? Wow.
At some point, he really
Yeah.
liked like gospel house and soulful house and stuff like
Okay.
that. Yeah, on his spare time. And my sister likes to sing and stuff like that.
You have
She plays
siblings?
piano, yeah. But me, like the shift, because my parents divorced and I moved to an area where there was a lot of immigrants, and I went to this school. Well, it was mostly black, so when I entered that school, the parties, just the elementary. It's an elementary school.
Yeah.
And the teachers had to separate us.
Yeah, because it was already turning
Because
up.
it's this is not PG-13.
Yeah.
You know?
Same in my community.
Yeah. So I think it's from there where, well, mostly at that time was dance hall, and dance hall was like, Benny Man, Buju Banton, like even the beginning of Sean Paul and stuff like that. So it was a lot of parties and a lot of like just also doing shows there and stuff like that. It just really like my environment was about that, and I was really down with that. And then in high school, like I just got to it more and more, and I did some outside like dance classes outside of school, and then I didn't want to do popping in the beginning.
What did you want to do?
Dance hall, hip hop,
Yeah.
like what was actually like trending, And the first time I heard like funk music, like I did a popping class and I didn't like it.
Do you know who taught it?
Fun.
Fun, okay.
And so he sat us down and he made us listen to funk, And I was like, what is this like old people music?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when I heard G-funk,
A little different.
that's when
Put the G in front of it.
With that,
Yeah.
Like, and then that's what really got me into the music of popping. But the funk in the beginning
The
wasn't
original
like,
funk,
I had to educate myself and listen to it more, and then start appreciating it, because also it brings nostalgia from my first time. Also starting to listen to it, and just to come back, is just. My parents wasn't dancing, but my environment where I was in my school and stuff, it was very, very
Much so
I just like it got to me, and then I knew I had like this kind of facility, like this
facility,
easiness, like to do it, and
Is there a particular person that you saw, like not within the dance scene, not a pop or anything, like a friend in elementary or junior high that you saw that like made you or inspired you to like dance, or like, because we all have that, like even like myself, like we have that person who's not like a popper or in the street dance scene, but like in school was like got down, like was there someone like that for you? Because you had that environment in school, people were doing different dance styles. I'm sure there was the kid who was better than the rest, or maybe that was your friend. Who is that person?
Oh my God, I had this best friend in high school that she would kill like the parties. Like she would like split, boom, see her
shut
on
it
the
down,
pole dancing with that guy, and she was a really good dancer. Her name is Dior, and Dior, like the band crazy. So for me, like just like more in the dance hall again, like for me, like I was inspired by her a lot, like I was trying to copy her in parties and stuff like that. But there's also like again, back to dancehall, like when I went to see my brother's high school talent show,
Yeah.
like I would see like a dancehall showcase with girls and guys dancing together, and like for me, it just, I'm like, yo, what is this music? What is this way of dancing? I'm like, yo, this is so dope.
Yeah.
And also another guy that really inspired me later on is Junior Boogie. Like Junior Boogie was he's a good dancer. And yeah, so for me, and he did it all.
Junior
He did
Boogie
it
for
all.
me, because I have, a big history with Montreal. A lot of my late teens, early 20s there. Junior Boogie, I always tell people, like, because Montreal's had a huge impact in especially in popping, But when I talk about Montreal, I talk about Junior Boogie a lot and how much I tell people, like, he was such an inspiration of so many there, and he is one of many, but one of the people that raised the bar of movement in Montreal because of how well he was at just dancing, not just a particular style, because his skill level and essence carried over. Even how he talked and how he chilled,
His
and
whole
you know what I'm saying,
yeah.
and
the music he listened to, not just popular tracks, he would actually dig to.
And I remember just a lot of people, of course, were impressed by his dance skills, but I always heard more of what he did for people spiritually, and like his conversations and how he carried himself and things like that. And he's still around, and I through the years developed a good relationship with him as well. But he's one of those gems of Montreal that for sure, if you didn't get to see him at the time where he was really in it, I always tell people, like, go back and try to find something, because that's like, one of the gems, one of the gems. So I'm so happy you bring him up, so happy you bring him up.
Because he's like, he's a big inspiration. Like, I'm sad that people don't get to see him, but like, it's really good. And also, like, the way he would like approach hip hop was like approaching different style was just it wasn't just the hip hop. He would break in his round, crump, throw down a pop, a wave.
No, it didn't look corny.
Like, no,
because people try, but it looks very like, ooh, don't do that.
And everything was like well put together. So, and he would just have this entire flow. He would go from one thing to the other, and just the essence as well. Like, it's undeniable. You know?
So he was a big inspiration for you.
Yeah, for sure. Because we live near each other, like.
Also
in the
Haitian,
West Island.
right?
No, he's Jamaican.
Jamaican. Oh yeah, he is right. He's a Rasta.
So yeah, and because Fawn took me under his wing as well, and brought me to this community center called Centre Communautaire Côte des Neiges.
Say that again.
Centre Communautaire Côte des Neiges.
One more time. I'm not even gonna try to say that. But she said.
Yeah. So it's just a community center.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So and that's where I got to meet him, and no, actually I saw him because he was in my neighborhood, but that's when I really
you built with him there.
Yeah, and just seeing him, like, because it was my first time starting to pop in, like, he really had something that was kind of easy for him to embrace, and
him and Dark are two of those people that, like, they were when I was there, they were partners, and always kicked it with them, and they were some of those people that kept me coming back, because it was like I felt like at home, with them. And for you, who was that person, like, growing up, like a friend or someone? Because again, you like you said, you started falling in love with just dancing in general and music, R&B, everything. Yeah. Was there a person that?
Actually, in 2004, there is an American movie dance dance American movie. Street dancer? How in English?
Street dancer?
No.
Step
Up. No.
No. You got served?
With Omarion, yes.
You got served.
That's a classic.
Yes, I
that's
know.
it, yeah, you got served. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I know it sounds cliche, but you know, back in the days it was so
Yes.
crazy, and this movie is really good. The dance in
because there wasn't anything since breaking, since like the breaking movies and Beach Street, and that represented the culture, and You Got Served came. So people now could be like, oh, whatever, but at the time, I don't care who you were, unless you were Poppin' Pete, Boogaloo Sam. That movie is like, if you like dancing, you like
relevant.
Oh, for sure,
The
100%.
acting, man.
Yeah, of course. It was. It's not an Oscar-winning.
Yeah, we were interested in the dance with this
course.
movie, and so I saw this, and with my friend, we were like, oh, we want to dance so bad, you know. We tried to recreate the choreography that we saw, and in our city there is like an association, like community center.
So you guys use the word association, like we would call like a non-profit or like a
And for the first time they were a class like hip hop class, but so we go there, and we heard like funk music that I never heard, and we do Fresno, and yes, it was the first time. It was called hip hop because it wasn't famous to call it popping or anything. It was more an attractive word, you know, and and my teacher. Where I'm still connected with him. We are like big family, you know, brother and sister, whose name is Pascal Luce, aka Scalp, you know. And I really, I thought it was like, okay, this is what I want to do, you know.
So for you, it's instantly, you heard funk and...
Yeah, you know, because I didn't have expectation.
Yeah.
So I was like totally neutral. I was like, oh, like a teenager, 14, you know. I was like, okay, oh, I'm here. Oh, we are doing this. Oh, okay, I like it, you know.
Yeah.
And it was like a quality class, you know. It wasn't like a whack something, you know. So I really
That's true.
enjoyed it.
The timing and chances that you actually walked into an association that had who you had, because he's also really respected too around globally too.
Yeah.
You happen to walk in and it's someone that really knows the real.
And,
you know?
and you know, in my city is like kind of a poor city.
What city is that?
La Courneuve.
Say it.
93.
That's right. See, you had to move that. That's when you know you're proud of where you're from, when you don't just say it like you're like.
No,
that's how I'm like. Pacoima, I'm from the 818.
Yeah, of course. But you know, this is not like a famous place. You know, every people knows only Paris, but this is not Paris.
But it's so important because, like, look at where you're at today and how much you inspire.
Yes, of course.
And that's why for us, we're the great winators. We talk about the 818 because everyone goes, "Oh, LA." Like, yeah, we're like, oh, baby. Like, no, we're from the 818. They're like, where's that? And then we realized, like, no, we gotta say it because. This is where I'm from. I'm not from the big city. I'm from this other little. So that's why I'm like, no, say that. Say that. Let them know.
So La Courneuve, t'as vu? Yeah. And as you said, the perfect timing. Maybe we were lucky to have this good teacher because, you know, he makes some stage with Skittle Rabbit. You know, he was a little bit close of him. He learns a lot from Sugar Pop and
Kid
stuff.
Boogie talks a lot about your Scalp.
Yes.
Yes.
No, it's not this. It's because Pascal, you know,
Ah,
in reverse. C'est du Verlan, c'est ça.
Okay, that's dope.
Yeah. So and I keep going with him. I keep taking his class, and after when I was like 18, so I was not minor anymore. I was major. I go to training with him and his partner at this time, her name is Farah.
Oh, I know her.
You know her? Yeah, she
Didn't she win How the West Was Won? She competed. I know for sure she competed.
She competed in LA.
In How the West Was Won, which is an iconic popping event.
Yeah. And she also battle G Smooth and other dancers.
I think she wins. I think she wins this.
I don't remember
but
actually.
I actually have footage of this event.
Yeah. So actually, I became a part of their crew, you know, and
What's the name of the crew?
Before it was like La Mécanique des Naïfs. It's a French name. Yeah, we want to stay like original. No, La And And yes, I felt really lucky because, okay, my teacher is a man. I was lucky to have him because he's really good. You know, he inspired me a lot. And after I saw Farah, so I become to training with them, and I was like, okay, it's also good to have a woman, you know, not because I need it, but just okay, oh, this exists too.
It's representation.
It's a representation,
Yeah.
you know. And I was like, okay, I have both. I'm full of everything, you know. I was like, okay, I'm lucky, kind of.
Yeah, no, and I think representation is so important.
Yeah.
Women, Mexican, black, brown, white, whatever representation
No,
is
of
important,
course.
right? And I think this topic is one that you two could definitely speak on, because just like I talk about Junior Boogie, I talk about you to people too, about like what I think of you, and you know, I don't know if you don't know this. I know you don't know this, but you're one of the people that I say is like one of the dope poppers that is not as known for Montreal, because Montreal has a list of really dope poppers, but you're one of the ones that I say like not, oh, she's one of the dope female poppers. No, I mean, she's one of the dope poppers. She just happens to be a
Yeah,
woman,
yeah.
you know? And it's like similar with you, but not that it's needed, but it's important, representation, you know?
Yeah.
How do you two feel about that? Like, and what are some things that you think could help the community, the dance scene in general? Because popping is a style that is not as, like, for young people, man or woman, it's not the sexy style anymore, right? Hip hop is, that word alone, you know, it's like, well, if you're young, 13, 14, you're like, I don't want to like do popping, like, especially now, because that was like really my grandpa did that, you know, like my great grandpa even, like imagine like, you know, Boogaloo Stampede, they're like great grandparents almost already, you know? But yeah, like, what do you guys feel as a community we could do to have more representation or more women like yourselves who have accomplished a lot, who have put a lot of years in time, feel that they're being seen and heard? Because not that, like you said, like you didn't feel like you needed it because you already had a good teacher in Scalp, but when you saw that, it was even more motivating for you.
Yeah, and it was more motivated. Also because I like her style.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's important to, okay, it's important to have representation, but it's better if you really love, if you really love the style of the person. You know, I think the dance must be the first thing, and not, oh, he's a man or she's a woman. You know, so. And yeah, I think you can learn from a man even if you are a woman, and the other side
around, yeah.
too. Yes, if you're a man, you can also learn from a woman, and you can be really inspired also, because the body is different, so the body language is too, you know, and it's interesting to see it, like how we can move, you know, and also we have different sensibilities. So when we hear music, we are touching, we feel it differently,
Yeah, of
you
course.
know. So I think, so okay, because women are more struggling, especially in popping, because it looks like more difficult physically, and the competition also is really hard because the men are really like testosterone maximum, you know. So, but I think it's good to be impressed, because when you are impressed, this is how you can improve yourself too, because you can be impressed by something. It's not really good, you know. It's not interesting to go there, you know. So it's good to be impressed and to okay, this is how far we can go. Okay, I'm gonna make my way, you know.
Yeah.
And I think yeah.
Yeah, no, and again, it's not an easy question, and it's not. It's not. There's no simple answer. You know,
No.
It's important to just have conversation, and as we have conversation, sometimes too, we're figuring things out, right? Because it's not. Now it's more not popular, but it's talked about. I think a little more now than before, but we're still figuring out. And us as an organization, and of course, I want you to answer this too. But us as an organization, we make sure that we don't put anybody in our event just for the sake of filling a check. check
yeah.
mark,
Thank
you
you.
know,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
number one. Like that's number one for us.
Parity.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, okay, okay, we need this, we need that.
Yeah.
No, it's like if you're at our events because you're one of the dopest in the world. No ifs, ands, and buts. And there is plenty of women out there who are just as dope as the men who are dope.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what
yeah.
I mean? It just you have to do your research. You have to
Of
look.
course. Yeah.
And I feel it's a little harder to find because I think a lot more men, speaking as a man, put themselves out more and are like, yes, I am the one. You know, and they'll go to more events and do all that, and it could be partially that they get more opportunities. It could also be partially that they take more risk in that sense.
Of course.
But it's not just one thing or the other,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But for us, we make sure that like every year we know that we try our best to find four dope people from this region of the world, four dope people from this region of the world, and who are those dope people? That's where we start with everything. But like I asked her, for you, representation, right? Like because some of the people you were talking about that you've seen were dope men, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember that moment when you saw a woman that in what we do?
Yeah,
that
of
you were
course.
impressed
Well, in
by?
Montreal, there was Mimo La Fancolina.
Yes, I've heard this name.
Yeah, that was like the first woman that I see pop. And there was Sam I Am as well popping, and Leah McFly also.
Yeah.
There was like three women that was dancing, but I was very impressed by the guys.
Yeah.
Like I was very impressed by, Monster, Venom, like what they could do and like the athleticism. Of course, and like there's something that was way more impactful. And I learned through men, so was for a long time trying to put the same body in my body.
Like what she's speaking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that for me, it took me a long time to understand that it doesn't fit me.
Yeah.
Many years, like more than 10 years. And at some point I had to shut myself from everything and just be in the studio and discover my own body.
Yeah.
It sounds weird.
No. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I had to understand and even go out of popping. Like really like trying to see how my body moves with what I have.
But you made a conscious effort to do this.
Yeah, like it was actually like my research at that time. And so that's when my dance started transforming. And I really thought, at this moment, I'm like, okay, this is way more
natural. Yeah.
And that's when you start also being better and more like good at what you do. It fits more your body. And then it inspires maybe
Others.
men and women.
Of course.
And then a woman seeing that will inspire her to use her own body with the popping, maybe, so you get inspired by the guy, but then it's like the transition to how you put it in your body, you know? So I think it maybe takes more time for it to like match what you want, and then you start growing from there. But it maybe it's that. Maybe it takes more time.
Yeah.
Also, we need that work ethic as well. Like you need to put the same amount of effort.
Of course.
And even more.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
Yeah.
I could relate it to just like when you're the minority in any situation, you almost have a higher hill to climb, like it's harder for you. There's less people who've done it who are like you, so there's less examples and methods to and ways to do it. But what then this is why conversations are very important, because you could only see so much through dance. When they hear strong dancers like yourself who are at a world-class level speak and articulate this, that's what I realized, like the importance of speaking is because sometimes it gets, they see the dance, they see the contest or however they see you. If they don't get to see you on the daily or outside of that contest environment, they only get what, 45 seconds to a minute of you, right? And it really depends on what they're looking for or what they need in their head, and that's what they get from your dance, which movement inspires. But when we take the time to speak and have dialogue and be comfortable enough to speak, because I think sometimes people are afraid to speak because they're afraid to misspeak and say something wrong, and it's okay to not know. It's okay as we talk. Maybe I look back and I go, oh no, you know what, I said that wrong, or you know what, maybe now looking at that conversation, I really know what I want to say. But now when they see this, you could touch to something that maybe they thought I'm crazy for thinking this. Like maybe I'm the only one who thinks this, and then they see it and they're like, oh my God, like that's exactly how I feel. I didn't know how to say it, but that's exactly how I feel. You know, because I do think, again, this art form is so important. So important, just so many reasons why it's important. The art form of popping.
Yeah.
But it is dying out, especially here in the U.S. Dying out, like it's going away. It's less people are doing it.
Oh yeah.
Right? Especially in the U.S., and even more so within women. Like, and I bring this up because we try to make Flavor of the Year already 2 years with just women as judges that we respect and that we think earn the spot. Not because they're women, but because they've earned the spot, just like we choose any guy, right? It's been very difficult, It's been very difficult to do that. And then we always, again, like, okay, there has to be someone from U.S. That's where the dance is from. And, then we start going down the list, and there is few. And then we're like, wait, there's way more women who've earned this position from other countries in this dance style than from this country. And that's not to knock anybody. Like I said, there is women here who have earned that spot. Sometimes they're not accessible. Sometimes we've already used them 5, 6, 7 times, and they're like, yeah, we're like, okay, more than half are from France. We're about to have almost everyone from France, because there's very high level of women that have a huge history of not only doing the dance, but doing it competitively and from France, Montreal has a few, right? Like Leah McFly, she gets the fuck down. Sam I Am, when she gets the fuck down. You know what I'm saying? They're more comfortable in other styles, and they have more history in other styles. But then we're like, oh my God, then it's gonna be controversial, because then it's gonna be like, why not me? Why not me? Why not me? Right? Because there's less spaces, people are spots. For everybody. Of course, please do.
And maybe I have a how do you say that? A hypothesis.
Yeah.
But like, also the energy of battles is not always catered for the women.
Nudie said this too.
Yeah, so we're not always in that energy.
Yeah.
We are sometimes. We have that masculine energy, but not that constantly, And maybe it's the game, One woman that really and I feel like she didn't have to go in that energy, but she would kill the guys was Cynthia. Cynthia, I felt like she wasn't that
And
in
Cynthia
the face.
for the people who don't know who you're talking about.
Cynthia from France, yeah, and she wasn't attacking mode. She was just doing whatever she knows how to do, and she would win battles.
Yeah.
So I feel like there would be a way of just staying true to who we are and our energy. I don't know, man. I don't know, and still kill it, and be so technically undeniable.
Yeah.
And still kill it, and win battles and stuff like that. On the other side, there's also kind of always
that you're saying,
attacking.
Because I've heard this multiple times. Is that energy again is not as inviting to the majority of women, because there is some that thrive in that energy regardless. But again, not the majority, exactly. So, and to the question that I'm asking is how do we create an environment where we could have more representation, so there's more Sonyas, so there's more Raws out there, because again, I have a daughter, I have a daughter, and of course she's gonna grow up how I grew up, seeing it in her family, in her home, but I do want her to see also women doing it, and there's not gonna be as many, so and this culture and this specific art form, anything under street dance is important to me and my organization and what we do, but popping is the really the one that I excelled in the most, and it's one that I see in a sense that it needs more help, not only with women, with men too, because it is dying out here. Like, if you see the level of 30-year-olds here in the U.S. and up versus 20 and like maybe below, it's a big gap. You go to other places in the world, like it's the gap is smaller. You know, like the Kid Boogies, Frantics, they still almost feel like they have. I've talked to them about. They still feel like they have to battle because they don't feel that there's as many of the newer generation that could represent on that world stage, you know, and that representation matters, and we don't want the art form to die here. And if no one from US is representing on these big stages, they're just gonna go to different dance forms, you know what I mean? And then that could also happen within the topic we're talking about now is with women. They don't see, then eventually all the women are gonna do hip hop, whacking, all the other styles that we're seeing, the numbers actually grow. And you know, because the popping does take a specific type of personality that I've noticed with a lot of the women who do it at a high level, you know?
But also because battle is difficult, not only on how much you can pop, harder you can pop, or how you can be stronger on your technique, but it's also harder here, you know? And under pressure, women are not as good as the men, you know, because it's biological, you know, there is something, you know. So, yeah, I think this is the main reason for me, you know, that we struggle more, and sometimes we have the mood and sometimes not, and
No, and again, what I find interesting, and I'm so happy you guys joined to have this conversation and comfortable to have this conversation, is because then there's going to be another woman to hear this and say, I disagree with her.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And that's fine.
Disagreeing is normal, and this is something that stops a lot of conversation. And I think sometimes I see within maybe with this type of topic within women, there's a lot of disagreement, and then it becomes very toxic and very kind of like, oh my God, and men have this, you know. I say it actually almost becomes more physical toxicity and you know, threatening of violence, because it gets like that sometimes. But I think being okay with having different opinions and respecting and not saying, oh well, like for example, if another male Chicano says something about what they feel being Chicano is, me being like, no, that's not right, because it doesn't fit my narrative, right? Or it might be counterintuitive to what I'm trying to do. No, it's being like, hey, you know what? That's interesting, because we are the same, you know, like if another woman disagree, we're both women, and you know what? That is true, because you are women, you felt that. How could I tell you that that's not true? You know, like what you're saying about battling, you know, because that's why also being able to participate in these art forms outside of a contest is so important. Because again, this dance, let's say speaking for popping, wasn't created in a battle. It was created in showcasing and performing in a performing sense, and it's turned into where it's just participated in a battle sense, right? And that is even for some males, you know, like great artists and movers that are like, oh, I don't want to do that style. I'll do contemporary, and that could be a death of a dance, right? Because that may be sometimes what I think what happens with women is that some of these women who, if things were a little bit different, like on some of the things we're talking about, if that wasn't the case, we would have some of these great artists and movers within popping. But because that is the case, there's a lot less of you guys like that, you know, and they get pushed to other art forms that allow expression and freedom, and not so much like, again, like, okay, you versus you, 45 seconds. And I know you spent your whole life doing this, you love it, but that person, you know, like, and that's and then also learning how not to take it so personal, you know, and that's advice that I give anyone in general, is that like those 3 judges or 1 judge in some cases are human, they make mistakes, and that hand pointing opposite doesn't always mean that they hate you. Because I think sometimes people take it like that. Like, man, what? And it's like, what did I do wrong? Like that question, right? So many times. Like, I'm sure you guys judged before, and people have asked this.
Yeah. They
What can I
came
do
and-
better?
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes the answer is just practice, or the other person did really good. The other person did better than you. Like that. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Like keep doing what you're doing because you did great. Just that person happened to do something just a little bit better in my eyes. And
Yeah, and it's very subjective.
yes,
you know?
and I
We
think
all like
it's
different stuff.
self-destructive sometimes to think that way. Where when you see that person or that human vote against you, you take it so personal, and then that's also maybe why you're not succeeding. It's because you take it so personal, and you forget maybe why you started like that school dance, like you walking down the stair, hearing Destiny Child, and like remembering that, and remembering that as the base, and the foundation. But yeah, I love having these types of conversations. I'm sure there'll be moments where we can go even deeper, like into your like actual just popping dance history. But to like move it to today, to now, present time. Sonya, for you, what's interesting with our event is I already knew who you were, and I felt like you were one of those people. It was like there's a phrase in English like if you know, you know.
Okay.
Like it's like one of those people like within the people who are really involved in the culture and know history, like they know who you are. And I feel like when you came to the first flavor, after that flavor, it became everyone now knows who you are.
Yeah.
Did you also feel that effect
Yeah.
from the event?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because actually I didn't too much battle before,
Yeah.
and the one I did, there are no video and no communication, no visibility.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and when I came to your event, you post the video and everyone was like, yo, and also because, like I battling like famous dancer,
Yeah.
so the impact was bigger, was huge, and yes, of course, the video goes viral on Instagram, and I was like,
Celebrities were sharing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was like a big, un tournant, a big
It turned
Shift.
shift, yes, yes.
And how did you handle that? Because some people, they're not prepared for that moment. They have a good round, and then they don't. It's hard for them to live up to that expectation. And I feel like for you, you of course did really well at the event. But every time I see you, it's like, and you stayed true to it. It's not like when I see videos of you and I see other things, I don't see you keep trying to do what you did in the
No,
video
never,
that went viral.
never.
I keep seeing you as like very yourself, and it's like
Yeah. Never. Actually, if you saw like a video of me, I never, or if you watch me on live, I never do the same thing.
Yeah.
Never. So because I want to step back from the theater dance.
Yeah.
And go and be more involved in the battle community, giving workshop, class, and stuff, and and if I want to go there, I need to improve all the time. I need to go back to practice. I need to go back to the foundation. I need to listen music. I need to I need to study to stay student. So I think that's why.
Yeah, and I'm happy that you say that because so it's weird how social media works and how much numbers and followers and likes make people satisfied, right? And make them, I'm comfortable now. I could kind of ride on this.
Yeah,
but
it's a wrap a little bit.
It's like, what is that doesn't pay bills. That doesn't do.
No.
There's a lot of things it doesn't do, right? Maybe like superficially it does, right? And me being in LA, I get to see like celebrities or people like with millions of followers who are dancers and stuff. And I tell people all the time, like more than half of them are some of the brokest people I know.
Yeah.
And they live in like a 2-bedroom apartment with like 8 of them, and all of them have hundreds of thousands of followers, and that also creates a certain pressure
Yeah.
and makes them not as happy
Yeah.
because now it's like a facade. Now they feel like they can't be themselves because it's like, oh my God, I have to be this person,
Yeah.
you know? And that's what I love about you, because within popping, you've become like what they call a famous popper, right? And there's no one famous in what we do. They're popular, they're not famous, right? Famous is you go
I heard what you said.
they're popular because famous is you go to the grocery store and like, oh
Of
my
course,
God,
of course. Yeah,
give
yeah,
me,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
popular is like when you're in school. You go to every
Yeah.
time you go to the school, everyone knows you're like popping street dance, like it's a school, and we have a lot of people who are popular, you know,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this
yeah.
school. But yeah, and that's something that I've noticed with you is that authenticity and you just staying yourself. And I tell dancers all the time who can't pass prelims, who are dope. Like for example, there's a dancer named Tony Ray. He won Just Debut with Khalif House.
Okay.
Right? And he's always been dope. He's just always fucking dope, right?
Yeah.
And he wouldn't pass prelims sometimes. And I remember when one specific moment at our event, he did it and he was down, and I could see him down, and I could just see him just like, what am I doing wrong? You know, like what the, like there's no way there was 16 people better than me, you
Yeah.
know? Like,
Yeah.
and I go up to him and I tell him, yo, Tony Ray, I'm like, bro, you're already fucking dope. All it's gonna take is one of these fucking judges to give the approval, and as soon as that happens, you're gonna see how you're gonna start winning everything, and almost nothing changes about you or your dance.
Yeah.
And just someone with the key accepted you.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah,
this
yeah,
game
yeah.
is about
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's it.
is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, someone
Yeah,
with,
yeah, yeah.
like your skill level's there. It just,
Yeah.
also some people have keys to
Yeah.
opportunities. They accept you, and you're going to see that everyone's going to start writing you. And then what happens is literally a year past, two past, then he's winning Just Debut. He's winning.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
he's
yeah.
judging and everything.
Yeah, I
that-
think it's what is happening to me. You
Yeah.
know, you have the
'Cause-
key and you boom. Yeah, of course.
No.
Because you bring
Yes, of
me.
course, of course.
Because you bring
Yes,
me
yes.
the first step. You bring me here. Yeah.
and then you
so-
did the rest.
Yeah.
And that's the other element is
No,
that
of course, of course.
some people like that's one, and then you got to do the rest.
Of course.
Right?
Maybe.
And yeah, so that's something that again, like I wanted to ask you, because you guys are here for flavor, you know, and for you, Raws, I think. Why you do that? Oh my God! Look. Look. The same way we brought her, in the same vein, in the same idea, in the same feeling, is what we have with you. So this is to me it's a beautiful moment, because again, like for sure, I don't know how many followers you had or everything, but you didn't have as many as you have now,
No,
right?
Like 6K.
Right?
6K I had.
And you're still who you are. You got the fuck down. Everything, nothing's really changed since then, outside of how many more battles you're doing and
Yeah.
everything. I'm saying in terms of your dance, of course, you're getting better. You're practicing all that. But that's how I feel like with you, is that like you're one of the dopest. You're one of the dopest, regardless of how you feel about that, right? It's not for you to think. It's for the people to think and feel, right? And I feel like you could have a moment like that as well. But what made the moment for her work is that she wasn't here for that. You know, we weren't here to have a moment. You were here to represent you and get down, and it happens organically, you know. And that's what I see with you. Me and Rock Swift, we're talking about that, and we're like, okay, I'm like, Raws is just like that. Raws is just like that. And we got a piece of it when we did the online event, because I remember how hesitant you were.
I was, huh? I don't remember
yeah,
that.
and there's a lot of people. I think
Yeah.
I think we wanted you for the online event, either you or. Trying to remember who. There was someone who was like, I don't dance online, you know, because it was
particular time.
there was a lot of people, and you were one of them. Were like, you're like, you know what, I need time to think about this, you know. You
Yeah,
told us like,
totally.
we need time to, no, for sure, not probably, for sure, but we respect it, like, of course, like, you know, because even us, the reason we didn't do online events in the beginning when people were starting to do it is because we were like, no, it feels disingenuous. It's just not authentic. And then a need for it came in a very authentic way. And the way we did it, anyone who participated and tuned in, people were getting emotional, you know, like people were crying, and, you know, like people who you would never think would do that on a camera, you know, but because of what was felt. And when you danced, how many people were hitting us up about who is that? Who is that from? As if you were a new dancer, and I'm like, oh, she's not a new dancer. I'm like, she's been dancing for almost probably like when I first went to Canada, she was already dancing, you know. So you already have that time. But for you, when you dance, like, because you're not someone that's looking to battle every weekend. You have a bunch of things that you're doing. If people don't know, you also help run Jack of All Trades, Joel. What do you feel like you are trying to represent? What do you feel like you're trying to accomplish every time you step outside of what you normally do into a battle or into, you know, a competitive setting?
To be honest, like for me, it's not for anyone but me. So when I enter the battle realm, it's really a challenge for myself to being able to connect what's here and what I do with my body. And like every time is me fighting against myself to be as present as possible, every microsecond with the music, really feeling everything that I do. But it's like being, like I told Sonia earlier, it's like having literally a meditation on the spot while you're dancing. But in a meditation, you come in and out. And it's even worse because in a battle you have the judges, you have the floor, maybe it's not good, you have like the people, the eyes looking at you.
You get an electro song.
You get an electro funk track, or like and like, or there's too much space, it's too open. Or like, you know, and there's so many elements that distracts me, and I'm not able to be in the present moment anymore. So every time I go in a battle, it's to challenge myself mentally, actually.
With that task that you're saying, being present.
Of course, like, it's also a good way, battles, to like train, you know, because, you know, you have to get better all the time. But so you can test your skill level, but for me right now, it's my mental level. It's really,
it's always
and it's just a good life life like tool.
Symbolic.
It's very symbolic.
Yes, and that's something I like, because for me, I think what, like, a lot of people saw me at a certain time of my life, right, in battles, and I cringe at those videos, and I see it because I know what I was going through internally, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, and people are like, I remember this battle, I loved it, and I'm like, no, don't tell me that, you know, don't tell me that, but I bring that up because I tell people all the time is that when I'm battling, or when I used to battle a lot, I'm not necessarily trying to be the best dancer. When I'm trying to be the best dancer is outside of the battle, because that's sometimes, again, it's to each their own. Everyone has different. That's why I asked, like, what are you trying to accomplish with that? Because when I'm battling, especially before, it's changed definitely now. But before, I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win. When I'm trying to really connect and feel and have what you're saying is therapy, and it's funny how what you're saying, it's almost the opposite. You're getting this experience in the battle, and for me, I'm getting that experience outside the battle, you know. And it's a little different for me because, again, I was born into this, and when I say that, like, it's not in my dad just popped. My dad was a part of one of the most historic Los Angeles crews. So was my uncle. I thought everyone's family did this. I remember when I first realized people didn't do this normally, and I was like, huh? Like, what? Like, you don't know, you don't know Zapp and Roger, and like, that's not your dad doesn't pop lock, and Ronnie Hudson, you don't know who that, like, you know, like, so sometimes people approach a battle with this intention of, I train hard, I'm the best dancer, I'm gonna connect, and then they lose to someone who, let's say, for example, like Salah, like a Salah who knows how to entertain, knows how to battle, you know, and knowing what your purpose is, knowing your why is number one. And once you could figure that out, you'll never walk off that dance floor disappointed because you know your why. You know, and your why isn't better than my why. My why isn't better than, but what your why is the most important to you, and find that why, you know, and regardless of results, you're going to be happy. You're going to walk off. And of course, there's the little ego, no matter what, when you're putting your hands on someone else's approval, which you do in a battle. But if you could look at it with perspective and go, you know what? I did my why. I did my why, and I know it, and I'm good. And those are usually the people that you see excel the most in the battle realm of things, you know? And that's back to not taking things so personal when you see this hand do this or that, you know? But again, I'm super excited, and I'm glad we have you as a judge this year. You know, I'm glad that you said yes, because you're very busy. You know, you're very busy with what you have going on back home, and we're talking a bit about that. I think with organizations like ours and what you have going on, people don't realize how much sacrifice it does take to leave home and leave these projects and leave these types of businesses to participate in someone else's event, you know. So we don't take that lightly. You know, we do very much appreciate that. We do very much recognize the sacrifice you're making to come out here and spending time away. But yeah, we're excited to have you. Excited to have you again as well. You know, flavor of the year. You know, we're glad that you guys, you know, are having a good time. It seems like it, you know, because we have freestyle session the week before, and yeah, you know, again, like, thank you guys for doing the podcast. We have a session to go to. You know, I would definitely love to do a one-on-one with each of you and go deeper into just popping stuff. But I always like to have this type of conversation more than that. I think that at any time we could have that.
Cool.
But yeah, flavor of the year. We're here with Raws, Sonya, Canada, France, you know, and yeah, guys, stay tuned in. Make sure you check out the podcast. Shout out to Fuego in the back. Again, Fuego for hooking all of this up. And yeah, all of you out there who've been supporting, and if you can, you know, look into Jack of All Trades, what they have going on and what they're doing for Montreal and all of Canada. And then, of course, look out for Sonya. You know, one of the illest in the game, you know, someone that's definitely helping inspire poppers in general, you know. And yeah, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, huh?
No, you were slick.
You're professional, right? You're professional.